Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Before I start today's May wrap-up, I want to take a moment and talk about what's been going on lately, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement. I 100% support it. This should not have taken the murder of George Floyd in order to spark the kind of momentum that we have seen, but unfortunately it did, and so I have been checking my white privilege because I am white and I benefit from a racist system. And because of that, I am racist. I have made microaggressions against black people and people of color in the past, and I am deeply sorry about that. I am deeply sorry about some of the things I have said, and I probably will say in the future, but I want to also state that I am going to do my best to change my perceptions, my thoughts, the way I act and behave, and start calling out people who make statements and racist remarks and things like that. This is, like people have said, this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. And it's going to take a long time. And there are people very, very close to me that I have not wanted to call out in the past, and I'm ashamed of past Tracy for not doing that, but I will be doing that from now on. Basically, I will be subscribing to more people of color, especially black people, shouting out their content, their creations. I am going to make more of an effort to read books by people of color. I have already gone in and changed one of my library holds to an author of color, but I'm definitely going to be working on myself and thereby holding myself accountable for the things I say and do in the future, and also hold people I know and love, but know the shit that they say and they pull, and I gotta do better. I really do, and I'm disappointed in myself, but I really do want to do better. So as we move on, I'm going to reiterate again, Black Lives Matter, full stop. If you don't like that, please feel free to let the screen door hit you on your way out. So moving on to my May wrap up, I read 6 books last month. Most of them were a reread because I was either trying to get caught up for the Hunger Games prequel, and then I had wanted to get to Blood Witch, but I had some troubles with Wind Witch, and I will get into that when I talk about the series, when I talk about it. And then just a manga, which was great. I only had one DNF last month. Again, I get a lot of my books from the library, so I've been kind of hampered in that, and why there was a lot of rereads this month. But so 2 of the books I read, I did not read them back to back, but might as well lump them together because they are all part of the same series, is Catching Fire and Mockingjay, books 2 and 3 in the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. And this is a reread for me, and I still ended up giving them 5 stars each. I still love Catching Fire. It is still my favorite book because the arena is so fascinating and so cleverly done, which is a terrible thing to say. I have also already did the movie Get It Right for Catching Fire and Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, which I will link. And they still hold up. 2020, these books still hold up, and unfortunately are apropos at this point in time in life. I don't understand why people hate Mockingjay so much. I have heard a lot of, well, Katniss is whiny. Katniss is suffering from PTSD, both in Catching Fire and Mockingjay. And it gets worse in Mockingjay because she's been through 2 Hunger Games. Her entire life was overseen by a dictator government. Okay, it was being controlled. Her life was literally on the line. She was under threat of dying, whether it was on the Victor's tour or in the arena. And y'all are like, but she's not the same heroine. She's not going to be the same heroine. Okay? Like, y'all do some mental gymnastics when it comes to fucking Harry Potter. And the fact that he watched a classmate that he didn't even know that well die in front of him, one classmate, and then apparently suffered from PTSD for the entirety of the 5th book, which explains his shitty ass behavior. And I'm not buying it if you're not willing to give Katniss, a female protagonist, the same leeway you're willing to give Harry Potter, a male protagonist. And I know some people will argue with me about that, but I really think there's a bias there that y'all are just not aware of. Okay, so the next series I reread was Truth Witch, or the Witchland series by Susan Dennard. And I did not reread Sight Witch because it's a little novella. It's still very excellent, and you should definitely read it. But I didn't read it because it's kind of like taking a little detour, just a little detour to get from Wind Witch to Blood Witch. And it's really a prequel. It's really a prequel to Truth Witch, but Dennard has it laid out where you're supposed to read it between Wind Witch and Blood Witch. And basically it follows Safi and Iseult, these thread sisters, because everything in life is dictated by threads, who managed to fuck some shit up and have to leave the city. And because of their particular powers, it centers around how people are after them to kill them, to capture them and hold them hostage or use them in their powers, because Safi is able to tell if someone is telling a truth or lie. Iseult is a thread witch, but she is not a normal thread witch, and it talks about that deeper in Wind Witch. And I reread Truth Witch and Wind Witch because Truth Witch is always just a good one. You know, they're always just good to reread. But the first time I experienced Wind Witch was as an audiobook. And this is a good example of why the media you use to consume things can affect your particular feelings or outcomes or something. Because when I listened to it on audiobook, the narrator was not good. I'm going to straight up tell you she was not good. Everyone sounded literally the same. I couldn't tell you who was who, male or female, except Iseult. That was the only person I could tell you was I could pick them out. And everyone suddenly has an accent that didn't have an accent before, and they all have the exact same accent. And because of that, the only thing I could remember from Wind Witch was anything with the puppeteer. And even then it was mostly just like she had some character development kind of, or at least backstory revealed in this book, and that's about it. Like, I don't remember much beyond that. Reading it was much better. People didn't necessarily have accents. If they do in your mind, fine. My problem is they all sounded exactly the same in the book. So where's my enjoyment of this? You know, when I can't distinguish characters, at least with the book, I can distinguish them. And I ended up taking Wind Witch from 3 stars to 5 stars. Blood Witch. Now, I know we all have shipping wars. I am a shipper. I have been since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. My days as an anime otaku, because I am too old for weeaboo. As an anime otaku, I generally ship people, and Iseult and Aedwin are some good shit. Some really good shit. I mean, Blood Witch is good because you get a lot more of Aedwin's backstory, what makes him a Blood Witch, you know, why he is the way he is, and his conflicted feelings of Iseult and her conflicted feelings because, you know, she's coming to understand her place in the universe. But these are excellent books. I've rated all of these 5 stars. And then my last full read for the month was Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, which I saw Netflix had put it up, and it is the funniest damn thing I have seen in a long time, and it is amazing. Like, I've been going through anime trying to find like new series that were just lighthearted, made me laugh. Think like Ouran High School Host Club, like cutesy shit like that. And everything I was finding was bloody as shit. And I don't mind like blood and gore and what have you, but sometimes you just want to fucking laugh. And this series, let me break it down to you as easily as I can. It's not easy. You have to either watch the first episode or read the first volume. So basically, our main female protagonist, Sakura, has a crush on Nozaki-kun. She goes to confess to him, and she says she's his fan. Well, Nozaki-kun is dense as a fucking brick. Not like mean, he is just dense. And apparently, he draws shoujo manga. So when he hears Sakura tell him that she is his fan, he thinks she's a fan of his work. And he gives her an autograph. And she's just kind of like, well, what the fuck do I do with this? So he invites her back to his place, and she's like, whoa, that was fast. And she thinks like it's gonna be how young girls, this is a high school shoujo manga, a high school series. So she's kind of, doing that thing like, oh my god, I'm in Nozaki-kun's place. Like, what's going to happen? He has her shading his manga. And he's, there's like this little montage like showing, oh wow, you're doing really good. She goes to leave and she finally gets it and she's like, oh my god, Nozaki-kun, you draw manga? And he goes, you've literally been helping me draw it for 4 hours. And, she finally realizes who his pen name and who he is and what he's drawing and the fact that he's drawing shoujo manga. And it all just kind of goes from there. But not only do we get two very well fleshed out male and female characters, and like their friendship grows while Sakura still has like a crush, and her crush on Nozaki-kun grows, but like they grow close as friends, which is great to see. Not everything is her being embarrassed. Like they share a bunch of really amazing facial expressions, and I live for that. But not only do you have two great main protagonists, you have very well fleshed out side characters who just make you absolutely lose your shit. I think it's Kazuma and Hori. And Kazuma is the quote-unquote prince of the high school, even though Kazuma's a girl, but she acts just like a shoujo manga prince. And she's also supposed to be in the drama club, but she is always skipping practice. So Hori, who is the president of the drama club, is constantly like literally kicking her ass when she's skipping. Like it's a whole bit. It's a massive bit, and it's fucking hilarious. And I recommend, if you want some good quality, wholesome content, you need to watch you some Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, because it is fucking hilarious. But I'm looking forward to getting to volumes 2 and 3, and I know I've watched this anime series like 3 or 4 times now. Like, I'm not even joking. It's that fucking good. All right, and then the last book I'll talk about briefly this week, or this month, was the one DNF I had, which was Sabriel by Garth Nix. I got up to about 150 pages, and it was not holding my attention. And I know a lot of people love this series. They swear by it, and I was not invested in the character of Sabriel. I was not invested in her fight to find her father or the it was whatever. I was actually finding myself, because I spent some time at my parents' house for Mother's Day, I did the dishes in the sink rather than read. Like, that's how bad it was. And I brought books with me. Sabriel was one, I think Mockingjay was the other, and Blood Witch was the last to read. And I read the other two. Blood Witch was the only new one I'd read. But I couldn't get into Sabriel. So I DNF'd it and then put it in my little, in the little lending library that sits outside of the coffee shop that I like to use. But, and I'm sorry. I wanted to like this book, but for whatever reason, I just couldn't get into it. So, DNF'd. All right, so there you have it. That is my May wrap-up. 6 books is not bad, I have to say. For whatever reason, I think it's because I went to my parents, and they live out in the middle of bumfuck Egypt nowhere, and it was middle of a pandemic, and I just, I got through 2 books while I was there, but I managed to get through a lot, and a lot of it was rereads, but still, 6 books for the month and 1 DNF, that's not bad. I'm going to do a couple of quick shout-outs. For a Black booktuber, I'm going to shout out for Ashley from Bookish Realm. She has been on BookTube since 2014. She is a librarian, so you should definitely trust, or at least take heed, very high heed, of what she has to say about books. And she also has the cutest little 8-month-old, like, just a little doll, and I love it. Y'all need to check her out, because she was one of the first people to subscribe to me, and I'm truly grateful for that, especially for someone who's super sweet. And then I'd also like to give a shout out to one of my local bookstores called Brave and Kind Bookshop. It's a Black-owned bookshop here in Georgia, in Decatur. They sell primarily children's book, and thankfully when I went on their website, a lot of their books were sold out, so I'm glad to see that they're doing so well. And fortunately, I think it has to do with a lot of the recent events, but still, yeah, I hope you check them out. I will leave some links down below for both Ashley's page and Books and Kind Bookshop, and some petitions and donation places that you can go to donate to Black Lives Matter. And I hope that y'all look at Black booktubers' pages. A lot of them have videos up explaining how they are tired of yelling into the void and no one's listening. And it's very important that we actually listen to what they have to say. Also, quit asking them how you can do better. It's called Google, unless both your hands are broken. And even then, I'm pretty sure most computers have the ability to do vocal recognition. It's up to y'all and do better. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all take something away from it and support people and their want to share good stuff, good content, good books on this community, in this community. Comment down below, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I will see y'all next time.